Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. 2 Valentine's Day jokes. I know it's the 16th, but these from late night, they were pretty good. Seth Meyers said, today was Valentine's Day, so I know what I'm getting tonight. 8 hours of sleep. Love it. Jimmy Fallon said, that's right, it's Valentine's Day, and if you forgot, don't worry, there's a good chance President Biden did too. Ouch. Let's start on Gossip Corner. Matt Rife recently played Radio City. Remember the show? And Lisa Ann, the actress, got thrown out. I told you about that story. Yeah. Apparently, Pete Davidson was scheduled to be the surprise warm-up act on the first night. Pete had agreed to do the gig, but according to Radio City insiders, Pete backed out 2 hours before showtime. Rife's team had to scramble to find a backup. They wound up going with John Campanelli, who has toured with Rife. Sounds stressful, but it's New York City. I mean, it can't be that hard to find a comedian. Who knows? Shane Gillis hosts Saturday Night Live tomorrow. Johnny Mac is curious. There's been no press. I thought there'd be a bunch of articles. There were early in the week with people complaining about Shane, but usually NBC will release a teaser or something, and I thought people would react to that. So far, nothing. Very interesting. I'm sure we'll have some reactions after the fact. I got this fancy email from the Netflix is a Joke Festival. I was looking for some proper copy, but there is none, so I'll just have to skim this email here. Netflix is a Joke Fest just added 100+ artists and 180+ shows at LA's most iconic comedy clubs. Let's open up the email and see what we got. So this is going to be all over the place schedule-wise, right? Howie Mandel and Arsenio Hall at the Comedy Store on May 4th. That's not bad. Maj Jobrani at the Improv on the 2nd. Eric Griffin and Friends at the Laugh Factory May 9th. Brian Simpson at the Comedy Store on the 7th. Nimesh Patel May 4th at the Improv. Also shows by Dulce Sloan, Steph Tolev, Pink Fox, Chinedu Unaka, who's really fantastic, Liza Traeger, Giannis Pappas. So the people I mentioned got pictures. Now I'm in a section that says, and so many more, which is interesting because I think some of these names are bigger. Some of these names include Jay Farrows at the Improv on May 8th, Big Jay Okerson at the Comedy Store on the 10th, and then some lesser-known people. And then the email ends. Send some copy, will you, Netflix? If you're in Telluride, tonight, the Telluride Comedy Festival continues. Tonight is an evening of stand-up and improv hosted by Nick Kroll. Also appearing on the show are Jason Mantzoukas and Paul Scheer, along with a bunch of other comedians. If you were in Duluth, the Duluth Comedy Festival is back today after a 5-year hiatus. Drew Lynch opens tonight. Maria Bamford tomorrow night with Jackie Cation. Bamford discussed writing and said, within the myth of Sisyphus, I am the rock. If you're in charge of pushing me up that hill, there's no momentum. I'm going to roll right back down again. Asked what's making her laugh these days, she said her husband, YouTube, and open mics. I saw an older man doing a rhyming act, 5 minutes. Not only was it misogynist, really anti-woman, but also body positive. So if you're ever bored or lonely, treat yourself. Drew Lynch tonight at 8. Maria and Jackie on Saturday. And Marie's also doing a book signing at 2 to 4 p.m. on Sunday at the Zenith Bookstore on Central Avenue. You know the one. Funny stuff from Maria Bamford, who said, I'm not a drinking person's comic. I'm not always a good time. Please YouTube me before buying a ticket. It's really harm reduction. Some people in Duluth have suggested that they name a street after Maria Bamford. There are some streets there named after Bob Dylan. Dylan spent time in Duluth in his youth, but never wrote about the town, so they want to rename those with Maria Bamford's name. She was asked, what would be on Maria Bamford Street? She said, it's got to be a dead end, right? A sinkhole? Maybe it's just a sidewalk outside the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory. AL.com, as in Alabama.com, asked Dusty Slay about his perspective as a Southern comedian. Dusty, who I love, said, yeah, I mean, I'm Southern, right? It's like I live in the South. I've always lived in the South, and I really like it. I don't know that you can necessarily be proud of just being born in a geographical area, but if you can, yeah, I'm proud of it. I feel like the South is a special place. We've got a lot of food traditions and things. I don't know. I just love being in the South, but it's not my whole being, you know? My accent, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. It definitely faded a lot over the years. I wish I talked like Matthew McConaughey, but I don't, and I'm not going to fake it. I've traveled all over the country now. There are a lot of great places in this country, and even places growing up that I thought I'd never like. I go there and I'm like, wow, this is a wonderful place. California these days can be the butt of a lot of jokes, but you go to California and it's like, oh, it's awesome out here. Why did he pick Knoxville as the location for his recent special? He said, if I'm given an opportunity to film, I usually end up having to go to New York and LA. I love going to the cities, but I never get to do anything in the South film-wise. This time it was my choice. I wanted to do something in the South, and I really like Knoxville, but they don't have a comedy club. So I thought, I never get to go there and do comedy. That's perfect. My jokes will be fresh to them. Then the Bijou Theater in Knoxville came up as an option. It's a really nice theater, and friends of mine, comics, have done the Bijou, and they spoke highly of it. We sold out 2 shows, so I got to do 2 shows back-to-back, and they were great. Like, we didn't have to go out and do things where we say, all right, we need you to get a laugh here so we can capture some laughter. We didn't have to do any of that. You never know. I could do a joke 100 times, get a huge laugh, and then the day I'm recording, suddenly it doesn't get a laugh. But this audience was on board all the way. The shows were amazing. Hannibal Buress spoke to the Sun-Times about his music career. He said music happened before comedy, but not in a way when I was doing it much. I was around it, though. When I got into comedy early on, I was having positive experiences and it was easy to keep doing it. I think a lot of it was partially identity, too. You know, I'm a comedian, but I appreciate now that with music, I'm able to go into it at a high level and know that if nobody else books me, I'm going to book me. As for comedy, he says the business is in a huge place right now. There's a lot more people doing arenas, a lot more people doing big theaters and multiple nights. Really, because of podcasting and YouTube, it's still a huge deal if someone plays Madison Square Garden or United Center, but there's more people doing it than there used to be. What does he like about Chicago? He says, I hit a potbelly a lot. You ever have Potbelly? It's pretty good. He says, for real, this is not me trying to get sponsored. I'm trying to tell you the Potbelly Perks app, every 2 purchases, they're giving me something free. He opened up his app as proof. It says, I got 355 points. All right, tomorrow on this very program, it is the episode where I say nice things about Adam Sandler movies. It's recorded, it's in the can. So unless sometime today, you know, Dave Chappelle and, I don't know, John Mulaney get into a fist fight, and Katt Williams makes fun of it. Unless something like that breaks out, that will be tomorrow's episode. And I played it straight. No sarcasm, no loaded comments, didn't put a lilt in my voice. It's a straight up episode, me saying nice things about Adam Sandler movies. That's tomorrow. Sunday will be normal. Are you watching Loudermilk on Netflix? My buddy Mike in Cleveland mentioned that he was watching it, and I was looking for something to watch the other night. I was like, all right, I'll check this out. And boy, it's really good. Who knew? I guess everybody but me knew. But then again, maybe not. You see, Loudermilk had been around previously. It used to run on the AT&T Audience Network. What? Yeah, that's why you've never seen it. But Netflix picked it up and they put it in front of Mike, and Mike's telling everybody about it. And now Loudermilk Season 1 was in the Netflix top 10 most viewed shows in the U.S. for 4 weeks. The weeks ending January 14th, 21, 28, and February 4, with a peak rank of number 4 during the week of January 15th. Deadline's ratings guru said, this is just another example of the power of Netflix when it comes to boosting the profile of shows. I'll jump in. Yeah, like how Suits is back, right? Yeah. It says, this one's a bit of a different ballgame than some of the HBO series we've seen light up on Netflix since the AT&T Audience Network had a much smaller footprint. Much smaller is an understatement. I think this podcast has a bigger audience than the AT&T Audience Network had. However, it's becoming really clear that Netflix can do for a series what basically no other streamer can. Loudermilk first aired in 2017 on the aforementioned Audience Network for 10 episodes. Then the next year, another 10. Then the show received a Season 3 order in 2018, which was filmed. And then the AT&T Audience Network shut down before it aired. In April of 2021, Season 3 of Loudermilk aired on Amazon Prime, which none of us watched. Well, now there's talk of making a Season 4. Isn't that amazing? There is a proposed plot here for Season 4, but I'm going to resist the temptation to read it to you because it might ruin your enjoyment of the show. But check out Loudermilk. It is a lot of fun. Early in the week, I told you that Gavin and Stacey was coming back for a Christmas thingy. Well, Ruth Jones, who stars in the show and co-writes it with James Corden, said, it's just a rumor. She told Ireland's RTE Radio 1, I don't know what to say. All I can say is if there was something to say on that front, James and I would happily announce it. But some random journalist who decided to write this, I'm lost for words. It's hilarious. I just have to smile. She made fun of the next notion. Apparently there's a bidding war going on between the BBC and Netflix, and I love it because it says, a source says. Who's this source? Amy Schumer's Life and Beth is back today. I was driving in New York City the other day by the Lincoln Tunnel entrance on the Manhattan side. There was a big billboard promoting this. Amy's been making the rounds. I skimmed the articles and I didn't find anything interesting enough to share with you. So I'll just tell you that the show is back today. She was on Jimmy Fallon and some people thought she looked different. I'm not here to be catty, but you might want to Google that. And that is your comedy news for today. Again, Adam Sandler tomorrow. Can't wait, can't you? Yeah. If you enjoy the program, tell a friend about it. They might like it too, and I'll see you here tomorrow.